Number 19, the Intimidator. The Intimidator. Why would you marry someone who in his presence or in her presence you are so uneasy, you are so frightened, you are so afraid, your heart is panting? I'm not talking about what you call you are blushing, but then just the person's presence, maybe on the phone or physically, just inject some uneasiness on you. That means that there's something wrong. There is something wrong. Because our Lord Jesus, the best husband we can ever learn from, does not intimidate us. We don't feel uneasy in his presence. No, we don't. In fact, Bible said in his presence there is fullness of joy. We have joy around Jesus. And that is how every husband and potential husband should be. That's Jesus for you. That's Jesus for you. Intimidation is when somebody uses fear or threats to control someone. Intimidation can be intentional or unintentional. Yes, indeed, there are unintentional intimidations. The person has not intended to intimidate you, but you are always intimidated by the person's presence. In that case, you are the one who need to resolve yourself. The issue is with you, not the person. Are you hiding something? What is wrong? Do you think you don't match up? Why the insecurities? Or maybe the feeling that the person is too good for you. All these things, you may need to resolve it with yourself. But my interest in this point is the one who intentionally controls you by threatenings, by warnings, by yelling at you, by consistently making you feel less of yourself, by consistently pointing out wrongs to you, by consistently reminding you of the wrong things that you do, by consistently comparing you to others. All these things can serve an atmosphere of intimidation. You are just on the edge to do anything that they ask you to do. There is an overwhelming burden to please the person, just so that you feel accepted. You may be in a wrong relationship. I thought if a lover comes around, you should be so happy and jumping around and hyper, but now you are so composed, counting your steps. You shouldn't be. There is a reason you are like that, and that must be digged out. And guess what? There are people who know how to deploy these tools just to gain control over you. And it is just their way of doing things, to deploy the tool of always comparing you, and then now you feel so intimidated, so liable to them. Now you cannot say no, you cannot express yourself, and they gain control over you. That is never the will of God. So it may be that the person has purposed to gain control by deploying the tools of intimidation, or they deploy the tools of intimidation not knowing that these are tools of intimidation. But the outcome is always the same. The outcome is always the same. You feel so frightened, so uneasy. You feel like you are caged, but you cannot break out of it. That is intimidation. Intimidation. Either it is verbal intimidation, the words that the person uses on you, or physical intimidation. The person is around and is talking to you and has this facial expression and body exposure as though they want to harm you, even though they may not harm you, but it's as if it's a mannerism just to have you straight in their presence. Or maybe it's emotional intimidation and you are so emotionally confined and imprisoned. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Why do you feel so uneasy and you feel intimidated by someone you are aspiring to marry? Intimidation is not the way of God. It's not the way of God. One thing that I've noticed, which I want to mention here, is spiritual intimidation. Spiritual intimidation. You have this spiritual brother or spiritual sister who said that I've had a vision, I've had a dream, and God said that you should be my wife or you should be my husband. And this other fellow does not even like this brother or this sister. There's no attraction. But then the spiritual brother says, or the spiritual sister says, God has spoken, and therefore you must follow the perfect will of God. I've handled these cases before where this other fellow, who is not as spiritual as the other, who is saying he has had a vision or a dream, but you see, because he regards him as a spiritual person, then maybe it's true that God has spoken to him or her. For me, I'm not as prophetic as he is, so God has spoken to him. But you see, this fellow does not like or have any attraction to this spiritual brother or this spiritual sister. But you see, we'll end up in a relationship and we'll just quietly remain there under the siege of spiritual intimidation. And sometimes in these relationships, you have no say. It is what the spiritual person, in quote, says that you must do. This is absolutely not spirituality. This is wrong. This is wrong. If by any means you find yourself uneasy, if by any means you find yourself frightened, and as though you are tiptoeing on a thin line around someone you are advocating to marry, you need help. You need help. Please have it discussed or have it reported to your pastor. Because somebody may have an intimidating attitude, but they don't know, and therefore have it discussed. Intimidation is never the will of God, and intimidation is never the right way to be in a long-lasting and a sustainable relationship.